Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. So we are coming back to Tearlaments, and we are sticking with the Horus variant. One thing you might have heard me say a couple of times over the last season, pretty much every time Tear comes up, is I've been saying like, oh, Tearlaments, Horus Tearlaments is neat and cool and good, but probably not the optimal way to play the deck. I don't know if I know about that anymore, because I've seen that this iteration of this deck has been experiencing quite a bit of success in both tournament and ranked ladder play. Now, of course, the Horus package did just come out in the last pack, so we could still be experiencing some new deck hype, and in that regard, I'm not sure. We could still see this engine end up falling off. I kind of thought it was going to fall off because, it's not super required due to Kickalos being legal. At least not as required here as it might be for, like, TCG where Kickalos is banned, right? But I think that even, that aside, just not even thinking about going into Zombie Vamp, right? Just being able to summon out, like, big bodies. I've said it so many times of all the different Horus decks we've covered. It is an aspect of the deck that is not to be underestimated, that's for sure. Now, the build that you see in front of you is probably not optimized anyway, because I don't own a copy of Winda. It's actually a card I've yet to craft still up to this point. So an optimal Tearlament build, even if it was on Horus, I'd probably cut like the Black Rose or maybe the number 60 Dugaris for the Winda. And then of course playing Beast and or Hell Shadal Hollow. Probably instead of, I don't know, some amount of this stuff. You could pick something, but yeah, I think as far as, like, aside from that, rather, and also, to be fair, not every Tearlament build is on Winda. Like, I don't know, I've always kind of considered Winda to be optimal for Tearlament, but when you look at the stats, like, only about 50% of the builds are actually on Winda. Stats, according to both Master Duel Meta and Untapped, show about the same from what I recall. That's about 50%, but I do remember the Untapped number off the top of my head was like 51.7%, I think. It was 51 point something, but it's either 7 or 9, I think. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I've always kind of considered Winda to be optimal. You may be thinking, well, Hex, you play Tear so often. Why not craft a Winda then? And it's like, I actually don't play Tear like super duper often. I pretty much, it's one of those decks I enjoy playing it, but because I play so many different decks for the channel, I really only have time to play this like about once a season. So it's like, do I really want to spend 30 UR craft points for a deck I play, once a month? Not especially. So, but again, like I said, even if you're not on Winda, it's completely fine. This is my first iteration in quite a while without Rev Synchron, which makes me a little sad. I do like Synchro monsters, but I don't know, I was putting this list together and I'm like, I just don't think I have space for it, honestly. The Rev Synchron is cool and it is good. Mostly the thing that I like about it is that it lets you go into the Vysis Omri Terra. Hopefully I spelled, yeah, here we go. So the cool thing about this is that, like, you can, basically if you have the Rev Synchron in hand, an A level 4 monster, you can sync for a 7 and then bring back the Rev Synchron as a 1. Well, you have to go for Ancient Fairy Dragon, and then you can make Omri Terra, right? And then that can search any of your Tearlament spell or trap cards, because they literally all mention Vysis Starfrost, which is pretty cool, so. But yeah, I just didn't have the space here, and it's like, as much as I do like Rev Synchron, I think it's a cool card in general, and also in this deck, it's like, you don't have to play it, by any means. We are still on a few synchros, because we are, of course, playing Destrudo. Mainly, I think you need Baron and Pep, right? Because Destrudo will usually come out as a 3, because it targets level 4, right? So this is 3 plus 7, which is also going to be Tier Cash, but could be Fenrir too. Or you could do 3 plus 8, and then make this Pep the second Punisher. I did include a 7 option for 3 plus 4. Ancient Fairy Dragon just felt like it wasn't doing enough in this deck with only the 2 field spells, and also not the Vysis Omri Terra to go into. So I opted for Black Rose Dragon, but to be fair, this has also not really come up. So it could be another level 7 synchro. The FA, is it called Hang On Mock? No, that's the, oh gosh, I can't spell. This one, Dawn Dragster. This is another level 7 you could potentially consider as well. There is also, as I mentioned before, the other option of, Jesus, I cannot spell today, of Ancient Fairy Dragon, wherever it is in here. Here it is. Ancient Fairy Dragon as well. But again, like, the summon from hand effect is okay. It's a little situational. And the field spell effect is super situational. It's like, if you have exactly rates off, then it's really going to go into Pearl Rhino. But that's usually about it. So that's why I opted for Black Rose. Which, again, I never summoned, so you don't have to play it. You could just not play a 7. I think you would be totally fine, honestly. But, yeah, I have... what else do I have in the extra deck here? I've got the Redoer, of course. I've got Dugaris, is a pretty good rank 4 option. Zombie Vamp is my only rank 8 here. In hindsight, as I was playing my games, I do kind of wish I had put in either 90 or 38. I think that between the two, if you're going to play one of them, number 90 is definitely the way to go in this meta. This is the one that negates monster effects, which is... I think much better than negating spells, so if you only have room for one or the other, I would definitely recommend 90. But also, if you happen to not own a 90, but you do own number 38, you can just play this one too. It's fine. Got the triple Super Poly here. Of course, our targets are going to be Mud Dragon and occasionally Dragostapelia as well. Or if you're in a mirror, of course, you can go for tier stuff, which does actually come up in one of the duels we're going to watch here, if I recall correctly. So... but, I mean, yeah, as far as a lot of this stuff goes, it's pretty standard. Supreme Seamare is not a card I've played for quite some time, but, I think it's a lot better now than it was, like, before tier stuff started getting hit. If you go back and watch, like, my very first videos when tier first came out of Master Duel, I included Supreme Seamare as one of the cards that you should not play in the deck, but of course with everything so limited and hit, this card becomes a much more viable option, so... there's a number of cards you can play, of course, instead. I thought about playing the Perform Age Trick Clown, but I was like, is it really that valuable without the Rev Synchron? I kind of decided no, so opted for Supreme Seamare. Actually, Supreme Seamare also pretty good with Rev Synchron, being a level 4 monster, of course, so... Alright, I think that covers pretty much everything I have to say about the build here. So let's break it down card by card, and then we'll look at some games. We're on 3 Max C, 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, 1 Tearlaments Havness, 1 Fairy Tale Snow, 1 Supreme Seamare, 2 Tearlaments Shyren, 3 Tearlaments Rhino Heart, 1 Kaldo the Sacred Protector, 1 Mudor the Sword Oracle, 1 Destrudo the Lost Dragon's Vision, 1 Kashtira Fenrir, 1 Tearlaments Kashtira. We got 3 Imseti Glory of Horus, 1 Hoppy Guidance of Horus, 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Reinforcement of the Army, 1 Foolish Burial Goods, 1 Tearlaments Grief, 1 Primeval Planet Pearl Rhino, 1 Pressured Planet Raitsoth, 3 Tearlaments Scream, 2 King Sarcophagus, 3 Super Polymerization, 1 Tearlaments Heartbeat, 1 Tearlaments Meta Noise, 1 Trivikarma, 1 Tearlaments Crime, and then 1 Tearlaments Soliac. That'll do it for our 42 card main deck. For the extra deck, we're on 1 Muddragon of the Swamp, 1 Tearlaments Kiklos, 1 Wings of Resonant Life, 1 Predaplanet Dragostapelia, 1 Tearlaments Rolkalos, 1 Tearlaments Kaleidoheart, 1 Black Rose Dragon, 1 Baron de Fleur, 1 Psychic End Punisher, 1 Time Thief Redoer, 1 number 60 Dugaris the Timeless, 1 the Zombie Vampire, 1 Divine Arsenal Ah, Zeus Sky Thunder, 1 Cross Sheep, and then 1 SP Little Knight. That's going to do it for our list. Let's see some games. Alright, so our first opponent is going to be on Super Heavy Samurai Sword Soul. Not a terribly uncommon combination. This is a deck I've played against a couple of times before. I just didn't really expect to see Super Heavy Samurai variants, well, not so often, but we had one this video and we had another one last video that we played against, and with Soul Piercer at 1, I figured everyone just assumed the deck is dead on arrival, so... here we are going to get Maxeed. We love to see it. JK, we don't. So I'm still going to summon the Fenrir because I think that's worth setting up as Disruption. Then I'm going to activate Scream, normal the Shyren. I just want to see if I can get some amount of mills that will help me set up nicely here. And indeed, we do mill another copy of Scream to search out the crime. So we're looking like not too bad. We did also open Meta Noise, which is very good. It's going to pretty much allow us to fuse during our opponent's turn, as well as acting as Disruption. So, mill a few more off Scream here. Nothing too noteworthy. Going to Crime the Taya. Might seem a little weird to crime it, but my thought process here was that level 8 Synchros are scarier than level 10, in my opinion, when it comes to Sword Soul. Plus, I also really did not want them to get even the token out in case they had, like, Tendy stuff they could do as well. So, I was like, all right, I'm going to crime the Taya. We did see them add the Longyon off the Emergence, but I can already use Meta Noise and or Fenrir to circumvent that. So I was a little less concerned about that. We also get to send the Tear Cache in our hand, which is going to mill a couple more. I'm going to chain the Shriva Karma and search for the Rhino now, so that way I don't end up accidentally milling it and then regretting that I didn't search it sooner. So Tear Cache sending the Fairy Tale Snow is at least somewhat relevant, or it might be. So Longyon, they're going to pitch in their Taya, summon the token. I'm going to use Fenrir here, and then I just concede. But we also, again, still had the Meta Noise face down as an option as well. That would have not only turned one of our opponent's monsters into face down defense mode, but of course also sent a tier monster from the deck to the graveyard, which would have enabled a fusion, which we could have... we actually could have sent... Ooh, you know what? Hang on. No, we couldn't have made Kaleido Heart, because that would have required... We didn't have Rhino Heart set up. If we had a tier card... so I think that was the play. I think I should have used Shriva Karma to search not per the Rhino, but a Spara Trap card that has tier limits in the name. Then we could have... Again, this is all during the opponent's turn, too. We could have used Meta Noise, send Rhino Heart F, bring itself back, sending the tier Spara Trap, probably just Solic. Then I could... Rhino, send Havnus, Solic search, probably just another Rhino for follow-up plays. And then Havnus F, shuffle back Rhino, the Havnus that was sent, and also the Tear Cache in the yard for Kaleido Heart, shuffle back an opponent's card, and then we still have Shiren and Fenrir on the field. And yeah, that's of course in addition to also booking an opponent's monster face down into defense position. So yeah, I mean, wow, there's a lot of stuff that Tyr can do during either turn, but of course we all knew this already. Anyway, enough about hypothetical chain links. Let's go into the next game here. Alright, so this one's going to be a Tyr Mirror. This person's actually playing like almost exactly the build I played last time with Rev Synchron and... Wait, was I on Vysis Starfrost last time? I think I was. But anyway, they're playing a very slightly more synchro-focused build, but not even really. I think we're actually playing the exact same 3 synchro monsters, so I kind of think if you're going to play Rev Synchron, you should definitely play Vysis on Reterra. That's just me, but... I'm going to start by setting up some Horus stuff here. This might seem really weird, but my opponent was like constantly getting past priority as I was doing like anything here. They were clearly toggled on, so I was like... I feel like they have a Max C. So that's why I led by just summoning Imseti first, and then Hoppy as well. But then at this point, I'm like, okay, maybe it's not Max C, because I think you would definitely have activated it by now, right? So, normal Rhino, pitch for Havnus, Havnus F. I'm gonna fuse with the Tear Cache in my hand. Going for Zekitkalos. I think actually I misplayed by fusing Tear Cache in my hand, because my thought process was like, oh, I can just send it, and then I'll be good. But I could have just sent Rhino Heart and then used Tear Cache to add, like, Crime or Stoliac. Also, they did have Maxi, huh? Huh? This person must have just not... Okay, here's the thing, right? I want to say this person must have not been paying attention, but like I said, they were getting past priority constantly. They were clearly toggled on, which means they had to have been... I don't know, I don't understand why Maxi came out this late, but I'll definitely not object to it at all. So my instinct was correct, they just did it at a weird time, but... So basically, I'm going to do the mill 8 here between Tear Cache and Kikalos, but... if I proc, like, another Fuser, I think I'll just not activate it. Well, that's not true. I'll probably just make it anyway, or make the roll close anyway. No Fuser here, but we did mill both Heartbeats, or actually, we milled Heartbeat, Scream, and Meta Noise, and Shriva Karma, which means I'm going to get a lot of searches here. And in fact, I'm going to use Shriva Karma to add Crime. Meta Noise is going to wheel a Rhino Heart back to my hand for future plays. Heartbeat is going to add the Meta Noise back to hand, and then now I can use Scream to add Soliac. So, being able to have all 3 of the Tearlaments trap cards set under Max C is pretty good. Of course, also Imseti and Hoppy on the field, also pretty good. So here they're going to Super Poly away my Rhino and my Tear Cache for Mud Dragon. Wait, why wouldn't you make Kikalos here? Oh, they can't make Kikalos, right. And then they just... Okay, so here's the funny thing, right? By doing Super Poly there, not only did they proc my Rhino Heart and my Tear Cache, but they actually surrendered before I could put Imseti and Hoppy on the chain. So, Yeah, wow, that's not the tier. I was talking about a tier limit mirror match we're gonna see. There's a better one that we're gonna see. I think it's probably the next duel, but this one was wild. Yeah, I don't know why you would one super poly there or two. Well, okay, I get that they saw me add all the trap cards. So they were probably thinking like, oh, I can just super poly away their tier. But you also saw me add Rhino Heart. Like, do you not? I don't know. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna harp on this person too much, but just a little bit of weird plays from this opponent. But anyway, like I said, we have a couple more games to see. Let's see the next one. Okay, so this is indeed another tier limit mirror match. This person, oh, also the last person was not on Horus. This person, also not on Horus, not on Rev Synchron, is on Winda. So our opponent's build is what I, generally speaking, from what I know about tier limit, would consider to be like an optimal build, right? But I don't know, tier is just one of those archetypes that like there's so many different ways you can play it. And even if one is optimal, the different variants are so close to power anyway that it's like, how much of a difference does it really make, you know? I think when I think about optimal builds, it's more like probably optimizing for ladder versus tournaments. But anyway, I decided to try to Astra, Pearl the Rhino, and Hedge, see if that would be enough to stop their plays. They have a call by, so it didn't matter anyway. But they have Scream and Rhino. So, well, they searched the Rhino. So, I think if the Ash had gone through, our opponent probably would not have been in the best position. But, they milled Shadal Beast and Kaldo with the Scream. So, that's not ideal. They get a draw, and more importantly, we have a Kaldo set up in their yard for our plays on our turn. Okay, here's our Kikalos F to add Meta Noise. Then they're going to... they have the Grief. I was wondering why they didn't just send the Tier Cash, but they can just Grief it away. Mill Destruda with that one. Tier Cash sending itself off, or Kikalos sending itself off to bring back Tier Cash. Milling 3 and then 5. They hit a Rhino there, they hit Snow, and I think that was Havnus again, so not another Fuser. Okay, yeah, they just sent 3 and passed, so... Alright, let's see what we can end up doing here. I'm going to lead with normal Rhino, and see if I can't force like a Soliac or something. They actually don't respond in that way, so let's see if they mill a Scream. Okay, nothing relevant. Gonna mill Havnus here. They didn't use the Keldo, which kind of surprised me. A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. So, we'll just make our Kikalos here. They are gonna Soliac the Kikalos, which makes sense. I think that is optimal. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna chain Super Poly. Because here is the way I figure it, right? By fusing away their Tier Cash, I give them, what, 2 mills? But then I get to resolve my Kikalos, summon a Rolkalos, and then also mill 5 off of Kikalos. So, like, it might seem kind of scary to give them mills by fusing with their stuff, but again, if I rationalize it in pros versus cons, it's like, yeah, there's a lot more pros to Super Poly than not. I'm going to Rolkalos this Snow here. Not the way I would like to be using Rolkalos' effect, but I think Snow turning the Rolkalos face down kind of makes the negate a moot point anyway. So, looks like they milled Chiron and Trick Clown. We milled the Keldo, which is pretty good. I'm also kind of surprised they didn't use the... Well, they could have used the Keldo first, because they activated on the chain link. Right. So, I'm going to put back their Snow, Chiron, and Trick Clown. Yeah, Pearl the Rhino pop is fine, because Rolkalos can just bring itself right back anyway. Okay, here I Trivicarmid for Pearl the Rhino. Oh, because it's my turn. I thought it was my opponent's turn. Tier limit mirrors. That's good. Alright, so Chiron mill Rhino. We also milled the Scream and the Destrudo, I think. So, and then they're going to Super Poly. Their own Super Poly. So that's going to fuse my Chiron and Rolkalos. They're going to go for Dragostapelia, but it also procs my Chiron, which is, like, fine. So, that's a little annoying, but not the end of the world by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, Chiron Chainlink 1, Slay Chainlink 2. They're going to use Keldo here. Finally, I was waiting for this, honestly. And then I'm going to chain not only Fairy Tail Snow, but then I'm also going to chain Tearlaments Cashira. and banish pretty much everything that the Keldo was targeting, just to make some amount of use out of it anyway. Alright, Slick, I'm going to add Havness. The reason I'm adding Havness is that I'm about to activate Fairy Tale Snow, and I know they're going to chain Dragostapelia to one of these two. Yeah, the Snow. So it's like, I might as well get the Havness in hand, have an extra body, get some more mills, you know. Mill a couple more with Tear Cash, Heartbeat, and Grief are going to activate here. Oh, no, sorry, just Grief. And it's like, oh yeah, Mudora. I was like, what do I even have left of Foolish? It's Mudora. That's pretty much my last good target that I didn't already mill. Alright, so here I'm making Cross Sheep, but I don't actually have any plans to fuse. I'm actually using it to go for SP Little Knight, but I am going to battle first to get my direct damage in before I make Little Knight. Because of course, if I banish with Little Knight, then I can't attack directly. So we'll attack directly and then summon with banish with Little Knight. I end up banishing the last face down card, which is Meta Noise. In hindsight, it probably would have just been better to banish Scream. It doesn't matter, they're just going to concede anyway. But the face down card was always most likely to be something like Meta Noise or like potentially another useless kind of 2-element trap card. Whereas the Scream would be more likely to mill them into plays if they did end up top decking like a tier monster, right? So, yeah, I think Scream would have been a better banish, but as you can see, it didn't matter here. Our opponent was in top deck mode anyway. I think we have one more game to check out, so let's finish off with that one. Alright, this last opponent is just after my own heart as a duelist, because they are playing Mutant Horus Sprite with a synchro engine. This deck is so cool! Our opponent's deck is so cool. I don't think we're gonna get to see them really do synchro stuff. They don't have that many synchros, to be fair. It's kind of just Vision Resonator with Baron de Fleur and like one other synchro I can't remember. Oh, Chaos Angel. But like, god damn, this deck is still cool. Our opponent's deck is. We'll see it in action here in a second. I'm gonna leave with some pretty typical turn 1 stuff here. Unfortunately, the Havness in hand is not ideal, because it means I won't be able to use it as a fuser, really. But, we can still mill a lot of cards here. Oh, we do get to send it with Rhino Heart, that's right. Okay, so, yeah, I can use Scream to add Solic. I probably should have just grabbed Crime here. Well, I don't know, I already have Super Poly in hand, too. But, yeah, I could just use the Rhino I milled to send the Havness, and then Havness to make 0 Colossus. Then going to link off Tear Cash and Rhino Heart for the Little Knight, just to have an extra disrupt on the opponent's turn. Yep, set Solic, set Super Poly, got Maxi and Ash Blossom in hand. This is not a bad turn 1 setup at all. Opponent's going to lead with E-Tele. This made me think they were on Punk. That was my first thought. Which I think is probably the most likely deck in the format to be playing E-Tele. But this one certainly has some other stuff. So here, immediately we can see them send the Mutant Beast. This is the only big mutant monster they play. Otherwise they just play all the little ones, but definitely not a bad one to be playing. And the Gamma here would be brutal, if not for, thankfully, we can use Roll Close to both negate and destroy it. Debatably, I should have flipped up Solic and sent that instead, but I was like, yeah, I want to keep another negate more than having, like, another body, right? So, opponent has to pass back over to us, but we don't really top deck any further plays here, so I decided to just battle with Little Knight and Roll Close, and then I'll keep Mudora in hand to potentially use with the Super Poly, is kind of my game plan here. So, alright, Imseti coming back, King Sark F sending the level 1 mutant? Was that? No, that's the level 2 one. So this is, oh, so this is, I've actually dabbled in mutants right before, I think even here on the channel. But Mutant M05 here is like what makes Mutant Sprite a thing. Basically, the idea is you normal summon this, and then the mutant monster that you add is the level 1 that specials itself from hand. And then, boom, now you have a level 2 and another monster. So even if that's all you opened with, you can link them off for Sprend or Elf and then make Sprite plays, right? So, but That's also an E-Tally target. That's why they play E-Tally. But then they have Gamma as an E-Tally target as well. Alright, so here, because they're threatening to battle over the SP anyway, I was like, you know what? I'll just use Super Poly now. They can trigger Hoppy, but I can just trigger the Mudora and shuffle back whatever they're trying to add back, so that's pretty easy. Of course, I'm also going to shuffle back their Imseti as well. Alright, they can still send the Roll Close here. Opening of the Spirit Gates lets them add a Dark Beckoning Beast. That's going to get normal summoned, and then they actually play the Chaos Summoning Beast here too, which is kind of wild. Although, to be fair, oh, and there it is. There he is, little boy blue. Love to see him. But to be fair, that's actually not a bad idea to play a random Chaos Summoning Beast anyway. Because, again, if all you need is a level 2 monster and any other monster to make plays for Sprite, then, like, yeah, it seems like a pretty easy call. But, yeah, here we're seeing the Mutant package in action here. Summoning the 2, getting the 1, linking it off. Or no, not linking off, they're summoning Beast. They're actually summoning the Mutant Beast. That is so cool. That's cool, actually. I like that quite a bit. Alright, Sprend sending the Vision Resonator. There it is for the Crimson Gaia. Oh, so they do go into the Synchro package as well. Okay. Oh, they have Fiendish Golem too. I missed that when I was looking initially. Alright, Elf and Sprint are going to make the Gigantic here. Why not Sprint in blue? I guess because you wanted to link into SP? Okay. I might have done things in a little bit of a different order there, but like, this board is... Oh, we get to banish Soliac this way, I see. I guess we value doing that sooner rather than later. Oh, we simply make another Elf, I see. Gotcha. Okay. Woof, and 2 back rows, so... As you can see, they were able to turn the tables on me pretty quick there, and Crime is not that much of a follow-up top deck. So, you know what? I'll show you this person's list too, because I think it's so cool. Let me just pop in here, and yeah, I love to see people innovating with stuff like this. Even if there's things about this list that I would do a little bit differently, like, I think the most important thing about it is that this person is cooking. And of course, I have a fond appreciation for any deck that's cooking using the sprites. So, cool list, good game from the opponent there. That is going to do it for these duels. Thank you so very much for watching. Let us now move to our outro. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. That means a lot to me. It's also a great way to support the channel, so thank you very much in that way as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel in other ways, like the very special patrons that I am thanking here, you can do so by checking out some of the links in the description. One of those goes to the Patreon, where you can join these fine folk and support the channel that way. I do post daily content over on Patreon, so you do get something for supporting there. And if you're interested, I also have a coaching tier option as well. Details again will be on Patreon in the link below. Also in the description linked below is my Twitch page where I stream a few times a week. You can go ahead and check that out, follow or subscribe over there if you ever want to catch me live. You'll also find my second YouTube channel if you feel like subscribing over there to watch some of the Twitch VODs as well as some additional non-Yu-Gi-Oh related content that I make over there. Again, any of those links you want to check out is all a great way of supporting. But again, even if you don't do that, just watching was also a fantastic way to support. And once again, I have to thank you so very much. But in any case, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out, and I'm hoping you have a fantastic day.